a lot of people would look at an author like Richard Bach, and I think he was on the cover of Time magazine, and they would say, "Wow, what a success story! He's got money, he's got fame. How do I do that?" And they would look at his life and they would say, "Well, he wrote a book, and people like the book, so that's what I'll do. I'll write a book and I'll make money." But you're saying that's the wrong way to look at it. And what I think you're saying is that Richard Bach never set out to be rich. He set out to share his wealth of knowledge and his gift with the world, and money just happened because of that, because he benefited so many people. So your advice, if I'm understanding correctly, is that you don't chase the money. All you do is open up your heart, open up your gift, share that with as many people as possible, and you'll never have to worry about money. Is that right?
This is very much what I'm trying to say, because again, the money isn't the thing you're after. What you're after is the idea. You see, ideas. You don't need money. You just need ideas. Think of the guys who invented the telephone. They had the idea that you could probably talk across, not the ocean at that time, but across the country maybe. The person who, a whole bunch of them did, put the airplane together, not just the Wright brothers. And it was the idea of flight. It was the idea of wireless transmission by radio. It is the idea today, computers, cell phones, and everything else. They are ideas. Ideas are electromagnetic in nature. They attract to themselves that which is very much like them. So if you were to open up yourself to ideas, the ideas will start bringing in the money. Do you think Steve Jobs is worth a lot of money? I heard the other day that his company was one of the top companies on earth. The guy who started in a garage, he had an idea. Richard Bach always said he didn't like to write, or he didn't want to write. And the only way he wrote was because something seemed to grab him by the neck, sit him down, and would not let him go until he wrote what was in his heart. So you don't have to be a Richard Bach. The toughest job for us is to be ourselves. He made his money that way. I mean, come on, the guy was kicked out of the U.S. Air Force because he refused to shave his mustache, okay? He used to be at one time a letter carrier. He did all kinds of stuff, just like we all do all kinds of stuff. But what made him a lot of money was his books and then his lectures. And I don't know what he does now. And so again, you don't have to be so focused on one thing and say, okay, since nuclear scientists seem to make a lot of money, I will become a nuclear scientist. You have to ask yourself, do I really want to be a nuclear scientist? I thought, to give you the money example again, here's a personal one, because I couldn't do an interview like this without giving my personal experiences. That wouldn't be real to me. I came from a family which was relatively not well off, okay? And I thought, for me to make a lot of money and create a lot of freedom, I better do something in college that was going to get me a good job forevermore. And I thought about it, and here it was, chemistry. Chemists are hardly ever unemployed, and people want to hire them all the time. I know that. So I majored in chemistry, I did my graduate work in chemistry. My bachelor's degree in chemistry was a summa cum laude degree. So here I was, this hotshot chemist. After getting out of college, and I took my first job with a chemical company, within about a month or two, they called me, the boss called me and says, I have a problem with you. I thought he was calling me to tell me what a great guy I was. I said, pardon me? He says, yeah, you don't seem to be enthusiastic about chemistry. And I'm thinking, this is what I was trained to do. This is what's going to earn me all this money. And he's telling me, so what's he going to do? He says, I have two choices. One is to fire you, or the other, transfer you to a department that you probably would be enthusiastic about. So now I'm quaking in my boots, so to say. I don't want to be fired. It's my first job. And what am I going to do? I majored in chemistry. What can I do? He says, I'm not going to put you in quality control because that's chemistry again. I'm going to transfer you over to our plant where you're going to be in production and management. Let's see how you do there. So you don't want to be a chemist if you don't like chemistry. You don't want to try to be anybody else. You just want to be yourself and let yourself give you a feel of what you want to do. So I didn't stick with chemistry. I didn't stick with production and manufacturing and major corporations. You know what I wanted to do? By the way, for those who don't know, I'm a Sagittarian. They love, as you know, travel.
I'm guilty of being a Sagittarian myself, so
I love traveling, and so I found ways to travel the world. That made me money because guess what? Traveling is fun when somebody pays you for it and gives you a nice fee.